Hello everyone and welcome to the final patch for the 3.1 mock for PhD. Here are the implemented costs. I'll put these on the screen really quickly. You can pause the video to take a closer look and let's get into it. From the last patch, Jade has been consistently performing very well. Just by picking her, you have a pretty guaranteed team against Nicador because of how many supports she takes. And she's still performing very well with just a wide variety of supports. For that reason, Base Jade will be getting another nerf. Not only that, the Herda's performance into Nicador has greatly improved since the last time, as people have figured out how to break Nicador's armor in a way that Herda gets more energy. Not only that, people have learned how to deal with Wave 1 a lot better at base, being able to zero cycle Wave 1 by getting 2 Herda ultimates. The difference between base Herda and higher Eidolon Herdas thus becomes a lot less because higher Eidolon Herdas, such as E1, require the same number of ultimates as base Herda does, because the additional damage that E1 brings does not make that much of a difference into Nicador. Additionally, E2 is also struggling a little bit because the additional turns that she gets very rarely make a difference because it still requires the same number of ultimates. For that reason, the base Herda will be getting nerfed, while higher Eidolon Herdas will be coming down quite a bit. Next up, Acheron at base is still underperforming, especially against the Swarm side, because it lacks quite a bit of damage to clear Wave 1. So Acheron base will get buffed, while E2 will get nerfed to compensate. Finally, Aglaia has also shot up in performance for the same reason that base the Herda did. People have figured out how to get that extra energy onto her by breaking that armor just more efficiently, using teammates that break the armor better. And for that reason, she at base has lost a lot of her weaknesses. Not only that, she's very polarizing in draft. We've kind of figured out that she only needs Sunday, and she can take a wide variety of other supports and still clear fine into Nicador. For that reason, base Aglaia and E1 Aglaia must get nerfed. E1 Aglaia in particular synergizes very well with the energy overflow, just getting Aglaia a lot more turns and therefore clearing Nicador a lot faster. Next up, CV valuing in this mock. We've decided to make a change for it because recently CV has gotten a lot less value. Generally in the past it was costed at 1 point due to sometimes making a difference by providing just a raw damage boost. However, nowadays it doesn't make enough of a difference to actually matter, because we've gotten an overabundance of CV supports that came out recently, such as Sunday, such as Sparkle, and because of the HP inflation of the mocks, getting an extra 30 crit damage, for example, doesn't actually change anything. And for that reason, a lot of these CV Eidolons that just give crit stats will get slightly buffed. Let's talk about various small buffs that are just going to come in. Sparkle in general has been performing pretty badly from E0 to E2. Even E6 is performing pretty badly. She just is a lot weaker in comparison to other supports in that cost bracket. Her advance is less universal, and on top of that, she is only really noticeable after you get 168 speed wind with DDD to get that 3 turn. For that reason, Sparkle will be getting buffed at base. Next up, Rappa E1 has proven to be a little bit weaker than we expected. The extra energy actually gets overcapped because of the mock blessing against Swarm, and For that reason, Rappa E1 will be getting small buffs. Next up, we were expecting Swan to be used as a support this mock because Dot was not viable. However, her use case as a support, as a Def Shredder at E0, and as a Res Pen additional Shredder at E1 was just simply too weak, even for Acheron teams, and for that reason, she'll be getting small buffs across the board. Next up, Pella right now is performing still pretty good, but she still runs into issues with Pro application, even if her ultimate debuff application has improved due to the Mock Blessing. And because of that, she's still losing quite a bit of her amp, but she still is very good in quite a few teams. And for that reason, she'll be getting very, very minor buffs, just so she can be used a little bit more universally. Finally, Sunday E1 will be getting buffs because it often fails to be fully used. The actual Eidolon itself giving 40 Def Shred doesn't actually happen because people are not playing summon characters. For Aglaia, it only applies to Garment Maker, and Aglaia's damage mostly comes from her basic attacks. And for Jingrian, it doesn't make enough of a difference. And so, as a general support, it's rather weak at 16 Def Shred, and for that reason, Sunday E1 will be getting buffed. Now, on the flip side of the various buffs that are coming in, we also have some small nerfs. First off, most notably is to Fushrin. Previously, Fushrin was 0.5 due to Nicador capping your teammate's HP at 50%. However, Nicador actually doesn't attack enough, and so she actually has proven to survive quite fine against Nicador. And with the extra energy he gives the team, she can actually just barely sustain it, pretty consistently, in fact. Not only that, the CC res is really, really good against the Arumaton on that wave 1. And so people are taking Fushrin to counteract some of the RNG that may happen, and it sometimes makes a difference. And for that reason, Fushrin will be getting a bit of a nerf at base. Next up, Small Herda has been showing up quite consistently ever since the Serval nerf, as a driver for Tribby, Jade, and the Herda, of course. And she has just become the preferred erudition driver because she is still 0.5, and she kind of made a lot of comps cheaper than it should be because they relied quite a bit on Small Herda. They would take Small Herda over Argenti just because it was cheaper. For that reason, Small Herda will be brought back in line. She could also be played as a semi-hyper carry for Tribby, just by running DPS Small Herda to clear out some of the small ads. So, quite flexible, needed to get nerfed. Next up, Argenti is still proving to still be a step up for Tribby and the Herda comps over Serval and Small Herda. Just the amount of ultimates he can spam this mock with the extra energy from Nicador alongside the mock blessings just makes him head and shoulders above the rest. I mean, he also runs wind, which gives him a lot of extra turns. And for that reason, Argenti has to get a pretty small nerf, just to bring him more in line. Next up, March Hunt has also proven to be a lot better than her competition, such as Moza and Topaz. Just because her additional hits are controlled, she helps contribute damage, and she helps break Nicador's armor a lot more efficiently. Not only that, you're not locked into single target when it comes to March. You can change targets at will, which is great against swarm bugs. It's great against Nicador spears, and she also has a niche in Super Break, and she's performing pretty well as a Super Break DPS as well. And for that flexibility, for that strength, and for making a difference compared to Topaz and Moza, she will be getting another nerf. And Tribby, it's Tribby. Tribby is really OP. as people have figured out how to play her, where to play her. The comps that she has been showing up in have proven to be very, very strong. So yeah, Tribby will be getting another nerf after the previous round of buffs. Uh, kind of just being in the happy medium. Now, recently, high Eidolons, the E6s, have been getting a lot of traction because it's been shown that these high Eidolons uh, basically allow your DPS to start dropping signatures, or they can be solo carries by themselves. So starting off with E6 Robin, she's run with a lot of different cheap drivers, and she allows main DPS such as Fei Xiao to drop signatures completely, and for that reason, she will be getting pretty heavily nerfed. Not only that, E6 Tribby has still proven to be very strong against Nicador from the last patch. It kind of polarizes draft because it's one character, and with one character, you're able to take the very, very cheap units, basically unused 4 stars, and still clear Nicador in a 0 cycle or 1 cycle. For that reason, Tribby E6 will be getting nerfed. E6 Fei Xiao has also proven to be very, very dangerous because it's able to kill spears and small bugs with pretty little effort, doesn't really need to change targets, and because of that, it's able to take cheaper supports like Topaz and Moza a little better, whereas lower Eidolons still have to take March. And it also doesn't need Robin. It typically runs with Bronya, and it clears just fine. And for that reason, E6 Fei Xiao will be getting nerfed to compensate. Next up, E6 Fugue. Quite takes literally anything as a brake driver, and it'll probably do fine as long as it has good toughness bar, March Hunt, and so E6 Fugue will be getting nerfed. Finally, E6 Bronya seems to have just been consistently the pick of choice for people over Sunday if you don't need the energy, for example, for Acheron. And it makes a pretty significant difference in the general usability. People are happier to take E6 Bronya because the performance is similar to an E0 Sunday. And for that reason, well, albeit without the energy, so for that reason, E6 Bronya will be getting nerfed. Finally, let's talk about My Day, the new unit that came out. Hey, we can finally turn our brains off. We have an autoplay unit. As expected, he's very RNG, especially at E0. You're basically praying that he hits the correct unit. He's also very, very reliant on signature. People running Blade Cone are generally clearing just a cycle slower. He's also very, very limited on supports. He can't take very many supports. Can't use Ting. Can't use any of these attack buffing supports. He is generally limited to only taking Sunday, Tribby, Rin Mei, RMC, which is a very, very small pool, and sometimes Sparkle. So we'll keep an eye on this in the future, but his initial clears are not eye-opening. And for that reason, the base My Day will be 3, and his signature will be costed at 3 because it's a very, very strong signature. Now, because this is the final patch of the mock, I'm going to take a 2-week vacation. I'm taking 2 weeks off where I will not be collecting data at all, just to prepare for the start of next mock. So I'm out of here. If there's things that are still overtuned, don't bother me about it, because this mock is about to go away. So I'll see you in the next mock. All right. Just to wrap things up, a couple upcoming events. On the 22nd and the 23rd, we have our PhD rank tourney. You can come watch on Discord. The link will be in the description. We have 4 time slots to watch. The 22nd at 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. PST, and the 23rd at 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. PSD. As it's a ranked tourney, because if you play in the tournament, you get ELO for our Discord ladder. So, yeah, come and bring your A game. Now, on the 30th and the 31st, which is 2 weeks from now, we'll have the new mock patch preview getting released. On the 31st will be the new mock release. We'll be having fun testing it. And on the 2nd and the 3rd, the patch will be implemented and the next discussion video will be made. So I'll see you guys in 2 weeks, and ciao.